Welcome to another episode of Mama, you're supposed to look at me, you're supposed to look at the camera. It's Mom the camera.
You're so pretty.
Mom, no. Can't make me feel awkward. Okay. Supposed to be looking, smiling, this is my guest, type of stuff.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Mindful Monday with me, and I also have a very special guest today. This is my mom.
Hey.
Her name is Jamie. You can call her Miss Jamie. You can call her, don't call her Jamie, just call her Miss Jamie.
You call me Mom.
Or that, okay? So today I want to bring her on here because I feel like the way that we talk, the way we conversate, the way we hold conversations with each other, I think it'll be great for everybody to see, especially with the topic that we're going to be talking about today. Also, I'm going to say it in this video because as y'all can see, I got my braces off now and I have my retainers in. So if you hear a lisp, and I apologize if you can't tolerate it, but that's just too bad because I'm not taking them out. New smile. Last time it was new hair. I don't know who else I'm like. Okay. So the topic we're going to talk about today will be breaking generational curses and what that is and how it can impact families, especially Black families, because you know we're going to talk about Black here always. I'm not going to do any current events this week because I want to just get straight to this video because I know how me and my mama talk. We definitely can just talk sometimes. And the video is going to be super long, so no current events for this week, but I will definitely get back into them the next video.
I'm Mom, and I am so excited to do this podcast with my baby girl. And it's very important to us because we've talked about it several times just on our own with our family, well, my side of the family, and what that entails and what she's seen and what I had grown up with, and also what she's had to deal with me. So it's very important to talk about it because when you don't talk about it, it can really lead to devastating outcomes if you're not honest with your children.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like she's always been very honest with me. And I know a lot of people from older generations, they feel like, you know, leave the kids in the kids' place. But I do like the fact that I do know my mama at her worst times, at her best times, because then I can pick up on what she got going on mentally, emotionally sometimes. I definitely can read my mama very well. I don't feel like there's any immense pressure because she confided in me about certain things, even as a kid. I feel like it's the way she went about it was very differently. She let me be a kid, but she did not make me feel like there was pressure to always be her emotional support. It just happened to be that she raised me well enough and mentally strong enough to be able to, you know, just be there for her whenever she needed me to at certain points in time, even when I was a kid, and raised me to be able to compartmentalize too and not make that my whole, I'm not at school stressing about what my mom was going through. And she didn't tell me every single thing, whether it's stressing, we struggling, it wasn't nothing that deep. But if it was something going on with the family, it wasn't like, oh, stay in the kid's place. No, I like the fact that I do know everything about how she was treated, who treated her, how, everything. I like the fact that I do know a lot of things because I feel well informed. So now when we get into maybe our family at some point in the episode, how we deal with our family and stuff like that, I think me having the background that I have and the knowledge that I have, nobody can get over on me about my mama, pretty much. Nobody can get over on me about her. So, whereas, you know, sometimes,
even me.
Exactly. And, you know, sometimes some people will try to give you different narratives and stuff like that to make themselves look better, and nobody can ever do that when it comes to my mama, because my mama has told me the good, the bad, the ugly about her rights, her wrongs, everything.
As a child, what I did as a child, the things I liked and didn't like as a child, also giving my children the space to say in a respectful way, no.
Okay, let's wait.
Okay.
Let's get to first the definition first.
Yes,
and then we can get into
jumping ahead of
us
stuff.
and how we can, yeah. Okay, so the definition according to Google is a generational curse is a pattern of negative behaviors, toxic traits, or dysfunctional habits passed down through family generations, often causing recurring issues like addiction, abuse, poverty, or chronic anger. Rooted in familial history, these patterns often continue unintentionally because they are modeled as normal by previous generations. I'm assuming yours kind of
Yep.
said the same thing. Yeah.
So with the kid, I'm old school. Boom.
And she's a teacher, so y'all know.
So there's different key aspects. It says behavioral, which is psychological, and then the spiritual cycles. And it says these are seen as both ingrained toxic behaviors like anger or manipulation, and spiritual bondage affecting a family's lineage. Examples can be divorce, poverty, addiction, promiscuity, drug abuse. It has a biblical basis. The concept is rooted in biblical descriptions of consequences for ancestral sin lasting to the third or fourth generations. Psychological, scientific perspective, patterns that can also be viewed as generational, learned behaviors. That's the key word, is learned behaviors, or inherited traumas where children model the toxic behaviors of their parents. So what we're going to look at is the learned and inherited traumas. And then it's breaking the cycle. And we know that that entails what we do to not have that bestowed upon our children.
Mm-hmm. I think I want to ask, I think a good question would be, because I don't mind going more personal. I feel like people can relate more when you go more personal and not always so general. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you, what generational curses do you think you broke as my mom, as me and TJ's mom?
Being able to say no. Not feeling like the weight of the family is on you. Mm-hmm. Not thinking that you have to drop everything you have to do for me or your dad. Also, the anger issues, the drug issues, the alcoholism, those things. And when I say those things, I know that at certain times, y'all may take a sip here or there, or whatever, but it's not something that controls your life. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about those generational curses, it's something that it's embedded in you and you just have to do. Mm-hmm. I know that I was an alcoholic. My side of the family, alcoholism is in the family. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's all through and through. I don't drink anymore. I stopped drinking. I don't even like the taste of it. Mm-hmm. It makes me sick. The smell makes me sick now. So, also, it's being able to deal with your mental health, not that depression. Mm-hmm. Being able to deal with that in a positive way, in a healthy way, instead of leading into those vices that are going to make things worse.
Mm-hmm. So on here we have a psychological portion, and you just said, leading to different mental health issues and stuff. So I think that's a good segue into the psychological portion that you put. Mm-hmm. And here we have generational curses. Here my mama has. Generational curses in a psychological sense are ingrained dysfunctional behavior patterns, emotional responses, and coping mechanisms rooted in unresolved family trauma mm-hmm. that are passed down through generations. Okay, we kind of explained that. Mm-hmm. We kind of explained the abuse and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And pretty much the key aspects of the psychological generational curses, it can be intergenerational trauma can be unprocessed trauma from ancestors that can manifest in future generations, such as chronic anxiety, depression, or emotional numbness. Behavioral patterns include cycles of divorce, financial irresponsibility, mm-hmm. abuse, or enabling behaviors that repeat from parents to children. Mm-hmm. Learned behaviors. Children learn to navigate the world based on dysfunctional norms of their upbringing, normalizing toxic traits, and negative cognitions. Deeply ingrained false beliefs, such as relationships are unsafe, men are violent, are passed down. So I feel like, based on what she said of how she feel like she broke generational curses for us, I would say personally, I think we are a very different type of parent-child dynamic from a lot of people, from what I see, from at least around me in my proximity. I think the way that I was raised, me and my brother was raised by my mom and my daddy, it's been different in the way of my parents. Almost 50.
47. I'm getting there.
Getting there. My daddy will be 50 this year. And they're in a sort of not too much older generation, but they're still a part of a generation that was raised by the generation that probably did cause a lot of harm to their kids because of how they were raised and stuff like that. So I feel like the way that my mom raised me has made me become very aware of who I am, what I deserve, and what I should expect from human beings, period. Not just if you were a higher up, like a boss, a supervisor, or whether you're a little kid. I feel like because I got a certain level of respect from my parents, that I don't care who I'm talking to, I demand respect until otherwise proven, and I give respect until otherwise proven that I should not give respect. I feel like it don't matter what position you're in, no matter what the power dynamic is, you should respect people, period. And I feel like my mom, since she's the one here, I'm just keep speaking on her, she is a huge part in that, because my mom definitely, like she said, she used to have her own issues, and she definitely had moments where we were kids where she definitely still had to break through some of the things that she was going through and how she reacted to things because of how she was raised. But I do think she did a great job of it, because if you knew my mama back then, she's very different now. And she was even very different from when we were small kids to like 8, 9 elementary age kids, where she used to whoop us and stuff like that, but she got to a point where she wanted to hear us rather than just beat us or whatever. Like, she wanted to really understand how we felt about how she would discipline us, or whether it came to somebody at school, a teacher, a kid messing with us, because she raised us to have our own brain and to have a certain level of respect for adults, period. And because she gave us a certain level of respect, she knows that we would never go out of our way to disrespect an adult or anybody, really, unless it was kind of a valid reason. Now, there's no valid reason for disrespect, and my mom was a sub, so she didn't play when it came to disrespect, because she raised us a certain way and it's expected to give respect to adults, period. But she also knew her kids, where can't no adult also just pin her against us either. So it's like, okay, well, what did you say? And there was one, I'm gonna give an example of where I was wrong. There was one time where I was in, I don't know what grade I was in. Was it kindergarten, first grade?
Second grade.
One of those grades. And I had a little smart mouth. And I forgot what I said, but I definitely got in trouble.
She told the teacher that she was too smart to be in that class.
Oh, I did. I mean, was I?
And it was a week later that the teacher had told me, and she was going to music class. And I went down there and I grabbed her face like this, and I said, that tells me by you saying that you're not ready. The one thing that I did not do was tell my children that they were stupid or that they were trifling. I didn't call them names. I stuck to whatever I'm fussing about, because I didn't want what I'm saying to them to be missed. The message I'm trying to give them to be missed, because they're hearing me call them stupid.
To be, what you're saying to us, to be missed or mimicked.
Right.
So because we weren't raised to, she didn't call me a B word, how some parents do their daughters, or call
Absolutely
me fast,
not.
or call me a hoe, or this or that. Like,
absolutely not.
Even out of anger, she didn't do stuff like that. That made me have a certain level of self-control and respect for other people, especially out of anger. To where I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm going to try to stick to the problem as much as possible until I realize you just can't stick to the problem. And now it's like, okay, there's nothing to talk about, because I'm not going to get myself so out of character to where I'm going to say something I'm going to regret out of anger. So when she handled that situation that way, that was the one thing where it was like, okay, my mom don't play about disrespect, okay? She ain't finna be one of these moms who come into the school And they be like, well, why'd you say that to my kid? And flip on the teacher when the kid be dead wrong. And my mama, like I said, she was a teacher, so she knows how that stuff can go. And she knows how kids can be for real. And she knows how parents can be on both sides. And she never played. So anytime I was in school, elementary school, because she became a ISS teacher for my grade specifically, because we were, it was terrible. She was with us specifically. Anytime I was threatened by my teacher, you want to go to your mom's office? No. And everybody loved my mama. This is another thing. My mama was a sub or a teacher or whatever at different points in time. And when I tell you, every single person that I knew, people loved my mama. When they got to know my mama, they loved her. But if you were disrespectful, my mama was gonna let you know that you're not gonna disrespect her. You can take that at home with your mama, but you're not gonna disrespect her. And people saw that she was a very serious person, and they respected her for that. But people used to think that, oh, your mama's so mean. Your mama's so mean. Like, I know she be doing this and doing that at home with y'all. My mama raised me. You think if she this way with y'all, that I'm gonna do the same things y'all doing to make y'all think she's crazy? No, she raised me and we got sense. And my mama was cool. Like, all my friends, they can tell you, all my old friends, my mama was cool. She used to let people come over when they wanted to, if I wanted people to come over, but I wasn't never always that type. Only specific people could come to my house. But when people came to my house and they knew Miss Hudson as Miss Hudson, but when they came to my house, my mama was the coolest parent ever. People love my mama down. It's just that as long as you follow the rules, as long as you're not disrespectful, as long as you're not acting a monkey, she definitely is a very cool parent, and people would be shocked to find that out. But to this day, people will still, I post my mama for Mother's Day, and people will be like, oh, I remember Miss Hudson, she was mean. You deserve it. You deserved it. Like, you tried to play with my mama like she was one of these other subs, and she's not that. And then people always grew to respect her and always grew to love her. My mama knows how to turn it on and off, but she's the same person, period. So however she reacted at school with these kids, let me and TJ get to a certain point at home where we think we finna act up at home that way. It's gonna, Miss Hudson, Jamie Hudson, whoever she is, that is who she is as a parent, as an adult person. She's very, very amazing at dealing with kids, no matter what she's been through. And psychologically, to get back to the point,
that's the very reason why I am the way that I am with children, because the long-term effects from mental abuse, calling kids out their names, depriving them of things, depriving them of love, hugs, giving them respect. The one thing about TJ and Letitia that I didn't get growing up is that thing where parents say kids should be seen and not heard. That makes your child a prop in your life. My children were not props. So, and I treat every child, when something happens, I don't care if it's the worst child in the classroom. The one thing I know about children is that they know that this child has behavior issues. So they're gonna antagonize this child. And then when this child get upset, so no, Miss Hudson talks and see what's going on to figure out why this child got aggravated. The same thing with my children. I gave them a safe place to come and say, and I told them, I don't care if you're wrong. Let's discuss it so we can figure out, okay, was the teacher wrong? Were you wrong? But don't lie to me. Just don't lie to me, because then I have to deal with the lie. Then I have to deal with the disrespect. So the one thing TJ and Letitia I can say came to me when something happened, and this is, I never got a phone call. They always told me. And because as a parent, part of breaking those generational curses, and I'm sorry we want to do this a different kind of way, but it kind of meshes together, is part of breaking generational curses is giving your children a safe space to be able to come to you and talk without judgment. And you could be upset, because I told them, like, I might be upset, but what I learned as a parent was shut my mouth and let them talk, because they're going to tell you how they felt, why they felt that way, and this is why they reacted this way. And then this when the teachable moment come in. Well, you shouldn't have done it that way, and we go into how not to do that again and what to do if you're faced with that situation again. And I can safely say that my children never made the same mistake twice. Not because I went upside their head, not because I cursed them out, but because we had the discussions. And invalidating your child's feelings and saying, well, you're a child and you ain't got no bills and this and this. Are you serious? The hardest thing to be is a child, because as you're growing, you have all these emotions and you're trying to figure out how to deal with them. And I'm gonna say this, as an adult, we have emotions and sometimes we don't know what to do with our emotions, but we're trying to tell kids that they shouldn't have it when that's part of human nature. That breeds, like, let's say your family didn't have any real issues, but you come in and now you're starting the process of causing generational curses because you're not listening to your child, because you wasn't like this as a child. You didn't do this as a child. So you don't give your children that voice. They don't feel protected by you. Then they get in listening to the wrong people. That's how you have teenage pregnancies, because your child can't talk to you about sex. Your child can't talk to you about what's going on with them. And your child gets anxiety and now they're on drugs and they're drinking and they're hanging out with the wrong person and now they're not talking to you. You wonder why. My baby used to be my friend. Your baby's not your friend. Your baby's your baby. You're there to guide them, to protect them, and to make sure that as they grow with each stage, you give them a voice. My kids were able to tell me, Ma, you tripping, in a respectful way. I'm okay with that. To this day, me and Letitia had to say, Ma, I need my space from you because you affected me. And my feelings was hurt. But I have to get out my feelings and understand that I have to, there's something I got to deal with because my baby don't want to be around me.
And she understood it's not necessarily don't want to be around her, but it's just when things happen, the way I feel like I go about it is I don't want her, I handle everything a certain way because of how she raised me. Whereas I know how I can affect people. I know the effect that I have on her, especially being my mom, because my mom, a part of generational curses is parents feel like you owe them. They don't owe you. My mom is the type of parent where she is, I owe you everything and you are my everything. So because I know how important we are to her because of what she's been through, I don't want to affect her in a negative way. And because she's given me the respect and stuff like that, to where she didn't really affect me in a certain way growing up, where she gave me a certain level of respect. She didn't let her emotions, her bad emotions, pour over into me and my brother. That's why I am how I am now. I'd rather tell her, like, Mom, I need space. I don't want you to be around me and I'm giving you negative energy, or you feel like I'm off. Even when I tell her, like, Mama, I'm chilling, like, she knows my demeanor, I'm just very chill. But because I know, okay, I can come out a certain way. Let me take my space just in case. I don't want to make her feel no type of way, period, until I can communicate. If there is a certain issue, until I can communicate, I need my space. That's how we learn to communicate with each other, rather than blowing up on each other, she cussing me out. She may take things to the heart, but my mom is very sensitive. It's actually so weird how sensitive she is,
especially with them.
Yeah, it's sometimes it shocks me to this day, because like I said, back then my mama was hardball, like not really hard. My mom was always very gentle, but firm. But now, ever since me and my brother have gotten grown, I can tell you've gotten even more sensitive when it comes to us, especially me.
Yes.
Especially me. She's so sensitive when it comes to me. And because of that, because I'm aware of how I come off and how I can make her feel, I'm like, Mama, I'm not trying to come off no way. And I need space because I don't want you to even feel like I'm coming off a certain way. But that's a part of generational curses of people. It becomes where the child don't even know how to communicate with the parent. It becomes where the child feels like they have to stick around a parent because they feel like they do owe the parent. Or where the child don't want to be around the parent, period, and now y'all have no connection for real. But another thing I wanted to touch on before I got to that was when you were talking about being able to open up with your parent and tell them about sex and stuff like that. That goes into the psychological part also, because you have to trust. You have to build trust. And I know a lot of people in the older generations, they feel like don't tell, especially in the Black community, they feel like kids, you know, don't be having sex, don't be doing this, don't be doing that.
But you doing it.
But you did it, and you know it's gonna happen. So if you make your kid feel like that they can't make mistakes ever, they're gonna make mistakes, and it is gonna become choices. It's not gonna be mistakes. It's just gonna be, okay, well, I'm choosing to be this type of person. I'm choosing to have sex with all these men because I can't tell.
What's that called? Self-fulfilling prophecy. That is you're trying to tell your kids not to do something that you're doing. Do as I say, not as I do. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy because you are manifesting that thing that you don't want to happen. Because you're not talking to your child. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. That was perfect. You're fine.
Because that thing right there. And my thing is, I told my kids, learn from me. Don't make the same mistakes I've made. Don't do what you see me do, because this is what I'm going through because of this. You know, it's sex talk. I talked to Letitia. I was like, if you feel that little wild hair start itching yourself, you need to come and talk to me so we can get you properly educated and properly protected. I said, I prefer for you not to do it. But let's be real, people. Parents my age, you raise your children the way you want to. But if you want to be real with your children, you have to remember how you were as a child. Don't pretend like you never did anything wrong.
Or never had opportunities to, or you got to a certain age.
You didn't experience it. Because then how are you asking your children to be honest with you when you're not honest with them? I was very candid with TJ and Letitia. Even my mom was like, you just giving them too much information. I would rather give them as much information as possible instead of the world giving it to them, because I don't know what the world is going to tell them. And if I'm I'm supposed to be the example, good or bad. I'm supposed to be the example. They could come to me, even now. Come on to me. I'm okay. You come to me. Don't wait 2, 3, 4 hours. Don't wait days. If it's something that is that serious, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Another thing that I was thinking about when you were talking was that when we, as my generation, we have to understand that there are certain things about our parents' generation that we can take that don't spare the rod. I'm not saying spare the rod. What I'm saying is that be mindful of how you're using it. Be mindful of how you're using it, because the very thing you're trying, like I said before, that you're trying for your children not to do, is the very thing you're going to push them towards. Allow your children to have a mind of their own, because if you tell them what they like and what they're going to do and all this other kind of stuff, how are they going to grow into their own people? That's another way generational curses happen. Not allowing children autonomy.
And we know a direct situation on that. And we see how it's played out. And of course, when she was saying, you know, let me know when you feel like you may eventually want to have sex or whatever, she wasn't saying like, go do it. But
Absolutely
she's saying, if I ever feel like I have the urge to do it because I'm in high school and I'm gonna have males around me, and high school, everybody's talking about sex eventually and stuff like that, and we're teenagers. Like we all at some point, some people held their virginity for a long time. I commend y'all, but realistically, a lot of people they don't hold it. So it's like it was gonna happen, and she would rather me tell her when it happened rather than holding it in. I pop up pregnant. I don't know what to do, even though she was always here. And But that goes into the trust though. And that trust started with smaller things than sexual talk.
Right.
That started with, I made a video recently on my TikTok about how my confidence got how it became. And that started with my mama building trust. We building trust on small things. So she's paying attention to me when I feel in a certain type of way. She's not telling me stop crying. She's not telling me I shouldn't feel away about stuff. She's not telling me, oh, well, you can't wear this, you gotta wear that. She's not telling me that I can't have my own brain and I'm a child sent child's place. I shouldn't feel no way. She wasn't pushing me away on smaller things. And when I did do something bigger, she reacted a certain type of way that showed me that my mama does care. She never called me out my name. She never reacted in crazy ways that I didn't think was justified, because I know my mama. Because she raised a certain way, I knew when I was wrong and when I was right. And when she was wrong, she apologized. When she was right, I always understood it, and it was never issues again. But when it came to bigger things like sex, because she handled the way that she handled any other small situation, when it came to discipline, when it came to me confiding in her about something, that built the trust, and psychologically for me made me feel safe. It made me feel safe enough to be like, okay, now mom, even though I was still scared to tell her, I was still just like, oh my gosh, I actually did it. But before I did it, before I told her I was feeling it, oof.
The funny thing is that when she was trying to tell us, oh, you had sex, huh?
Yeah, because I was like, oh my gosh, I think not delusional, because that's a possibility, but I was thinking for like a month after it happened, like, oh my gosh, like I feel weird, I gotta tell my mom. And one thing about it is breaking the generational curses, her breaking the generational curse that we had for her side of the family. I always felt like I'm gonna go to my mom about everything. I don't care. At some point, I don't care how scary it may be, I'm going to tell my mama. And I talked about this in my last podcast video where I was telling y'all how I got caught smoking on campus, and the first person I wanted to call was my mama, because my mama is definitely gonna handle it and make me feel safe in a way. So when it comes to situations like the sex thing, like I was scared to tell her, but I was like, I gotta tell her. I'm gonna tell her. It was a month that had went by, and I was panicking. I'm like, I feel weird. Of course, I wasn't pregnant, but I feel weird, and I think my delusion and my panicking was playing a part into me thinking I was feeling a certain type of way.
It was.
Yeah. and then I was like, Mom, I called her. I was at Urban Center.
She stopped everything that she was
literally
doing and asked me, Mom,
can you come?
I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And she, I think the shock, the look on her face, when I said, you had sex, didn't you? And she was like, huh?
Yeah.
And the question I asked is, how did it feel? How do you feel? And I said, you want to go to the health department? And I think my calmness about it, because guess what? She was a teenager. Guess what? Teenagers have sex. My thing is not tripping out over her having sex. My thing is making sure that she's properly educated.
And I'm okay.
And that she's okay. And that we get her to clear her fears and her nervousness, just to go so she can. And I asked her, I said, do you want, because at this time, the child had the option to have the parent with them. She wanted me to go in with her, but I had told her, I said, I want you to be able to speak for yourself and be comfortable with speaking for yourself. But then if you want me to come in, you can ask them to bring me in if you need me to come in to be. But I've always allowed them to speak for themselves because that's another thing.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Parents want to speak for their children.
And it gets so bad where the child don't know how to speak for themselves.
And
they don't even know how to place a McDonald's order.
And that's simple things like that.
It affects it.
Telling the children, like when they were little, they didn't eat off the kids' menu. We didn't go to McDonald's like that a lot.
It's a Red Lobster.
Red Lobster. Places where they experience having different foods. You know, we didn't go to just Taco Bell. They ate tacos from a place that actually served a Mexican restaurant or a Hispanic restaurant that served those things, because we wanted them to have that type of experience. They'll know what they like, what they don't like, what food they like, because I didn't know what I'm sorry, I keep tapping this thing. I did not know what I like to eat. I couldn't tell you what I like to eat. I couldn't tell you. People ask me, what do you like to do? I still struggle with that. I didn't want my kids to have those same issues. I also didn't want my children to doubt if I love them or not, or if I like them or not.
Before you get to that, I was going to say also, you know how you go to a cookout with your family and the adults are like, no, ain't no steaks for no kids. They get the hot dogs.
Oh, heck.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So small, I don't think people understand that even the smallest of things, when you make a kid feel human, and forget age, when you make a kid feel human, it will turn into a very secure person in general. It will break that generational curse. I promise you. So every small thing that my parents did to make us feel human, not childlike, not adult-like, human. Who don't want no steak? Why we gotta stick to the hot dogs just because we kids? Like, small things. I
get steak and potatoes. They get steak and potatoes.
We might get extra steak. She might get the little flat, cheap one, and she'll give us the filet mignon. Yes. Literally.
I grew up where the parents would have something and we couldn't have none. We couldn't touch it, or we could be hungry and we didn't cook nothing, and somebody's coming in with something to eat. So it's like one of them things where the things that I didn't like growing up, or that hurt my feelings growing up, I didn't want to do to my children. The one thing I said that I would not do was ever make them feel less than. I told them every day I love them. I told them every day they're the reason why I'm alive.
And she meant that.
God knew to bring my children into my life, because first for my son, because I found I had a purpose to live. I was very suicidal because of my traumas.
Generational curses.
My daughter, because I didn't experience the love between a mother and a daughter, but I want to give that. So when I hear people say, well, this is the thing says it's because it's how they were raised, and because I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can inflict hurt on the very life that you brought into the world. That same hurt, because this is how I was raised. This is how I don't understand that. I have a block in my brain. I can't do the mental gymnastics to understand, to inflict that. I want my children to experience every happiness from me. I don't want to be the one to inflict hurt or trauma or mental issues or suicidalness. I don't want that. Not for me. I don't want them to get that from me, because I'm supposed to give them their first experience of joy and love and just thinking the world is just awesome.
I thought I was rich more so because of the love that I got. I was rich in love. I was rich in support. I was rich in autonomy. I was rich in respect, trust, everything. Even, because I understood we weren't rich, literally. I mean, I was spoiled, but I still understood that my parents still had things to do, things to pay for, no matter what. No matter if I was pocket watching a little bit on my daddy.
She still.
Yeah.
Her daddy.
Yeah. I was rich in love, period. Health and love. Even if unhealthy things could happen, I definitely still felt just love in general, which is why I am how I am. And as you were explaining what you did, I think a lot of parents in the older generations feel like that they're very selfless because they struggled to take care of their kids, and because they went through so many hardships, and so now they feel like the kids owe them. That is selfish. You should struggle because I struggled, or you should feel emotional pain because I felt emotional pain, and you should just suck it up because I had to suck it up. They may not realize some people do need therapy. Like my mom, she didn't need therapy at the time to just be the parent that she was. She just knew what she wanted to do and what she was not going to do as a parent. But some of the people didn't have the resources, didn't have the people around them, didn't have the mental wherewithal, the emotional wherewithal to understand that things like that is selfish instead of selfless. And I think that's why it's important to break generational curses, because when you realize that it is selfish that you want your kids to go through what you went through, we will not have this issue, especially in the Black community, because the Black community feels like struggle equals validation. Like struggle equals that equals your worth as a person. I'm 100% against that. I don't feel like you should have to struggle to feel like you've lived a fulfilled life. No. And I don't care if that's relationships, familiar relationships, friendships. I don't think you should have to struggle to feel like you have accomplished something. If you can give your kids the best footing, like these white people have done, then do that. I feel like, especially in the Black community, like I said, they feel like struggle it means something. We should not want our kids to struggle. My mom and my daddy did not want me to struggle. That's why I got to where I got to today, because I didn't have to struggle. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to do things. I'm sure my daddy was doing things to make money when he was a teenager. My mom was doing things to make money when she was a teenager.
I was working.
Exactly. And I did not have to do that. They didn't want me to do that. My job was school and sports, period. When I got to college even, I was grown, but my job was finish school first. Focus on your mental health and getting your grades in order to be able to graduate on time, period.
College is hard enough by itself.
You know, sometimes you do have some parents, when you watch killing shows, if you know, I'm avid true crime watcher, you do have some parents who overly spoil their kids and then their kids end up killing them. And that sucks. But when it comes to balance. But also the balance is the thing too. Breaking generational curses is an important thing to it too, because you do want to break those curses, but you don't want to overcompensate to where now you don't know how to control your kid. You don't know how to deal with your kid when, okay, I was definitely spoiled, but I understood the value of money, and I understood, don't be crying and kicking and screaming just because you got told no. I had to still my mama still had a perfect balance of discipline and
do that. We didn't do that.
You know, she had a perfect balance of discipline and respect though, and understanding to where you're not finna act a fool either. I definitely respect you and everything, but you're not finna act a fool because we told you no. You have to have a perfect balance to where, because that can cause generational curses too, where if you yes to your kid, and then entitlement is bred, and then they get older, and then now they don't know how to tell their kids no, and then like I said, you can end up getting one of the kids to off you. You just never know. Or it just turns into a bunch of ungrateful kids also. So you have to have a perfect balance of everything, and I definitely had the perfect balance, the best of both worlds in those aspects, psychologically especially.